and said he believed the Russian leader wants Ukraine to succeed. Well, let's discuss these latest developments with Olena Prokopenko, who's Ukrainian foreign policy expert from the German Marshall Fund. Olena, welcome to BBC News. So what is your take on these latest face-to-face talks?
Well, the fact that this meeting did take place despite the holiday season already suggests that the peace talks remain high on President Trump's agenda, although the tone of the meeting seems to have been heavily influenced by the phone call that President Trump had with Vladimir Putin prior to meeting with President Zelensky. As you said before, Donald Trump reiterated some of the Kremlin talking points, including the most surprising one probably, which is that Russia wants Ukraine to succeed, which suggests that the understanding of the reasons of this for this war is very questionable, very limited on the U.S. administration's side. In terms of the substance of the negotiations, it's important that President Zelensky was able to hold the ground, to stand the ground and reject territorial concessions, to reject concessions regarding Donbass, which would be disastrous for Ukraine, which would provide Russia with a perfect springboard to make further advances on the front lines. Another positive outcome is that President Zelensky seems to have stayed on the good side of Donald Trump, on the good side of the U.S. administration, and Ukraine is no longer blamed for standing in the way of peace, and the U.S. military assistance to Ukraine remains in force. And for the lack of a better outcome, this already seems to be a positive development. But otherwise, there's barely any specifics on the outcomes of this meeting. President Zelensky said that the security guarantees from the U.S. by the U.S. have been agreed upon, but there is no specifics on what those guarantees could be. It's unclear what the U.S. can offer at the moment.
There's also been discussions, hasn't there, about a referendum taking place in Ukraine on new territorial lines that could be drawn up. There would be a ceasefire in order for that to take place safely. But it seems Russia would not be on board for that idea. They would feel that that would regress their progress when it comes to this war.
Absolutely. I think it's important to understand that Russia continues to use these peace talks as a strategy to buy time, to make further advances at the front lines, to avoid stronger sanctions from the U.S. Side. So there is no reason to believe that Russia is interested in any ceasefire or let alone lasting peace. And even over the past 24 hours, Russian leadership has made another statement rejecting the ceasefire related to the referendum if the referendum would take place. So I think the sooner the U.S. administration admits that Russia is the only obstacle to peace, that Russia is not interested in peace, the sooner the real talks can start. And these talks should be focused on consolidated pressure on Russia. And it was very hopeful to hear from the European leaders yesterday that they believe that pressure on Russia should be at the heart and the center of these talks.
Olena Prokopenko from the German Marshall Fund, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.